Hello, everybody. Welcome to the first Lenten edition of Monday Musings. I hope everyone is doing well and enjoying the beautiful spring-like weather, even though we're a little early yet for spring, and heaven knows we still do need some more rain. Um, so we had a successful first weekend of Lent, thanks to Father Gregory and Father Vincent and Father David. As I think I shared with you a couple weeks ago, I was away at a retreat called Life-Giving Wounds. It was a retreat for adult children of divorce and separation. It's a relatively new ministry. It was started back on the East Coast, and this past weekend was the first weekend here on the West Coast. Hopefully, there will be many more to come. It was an extraordinarily powerful weekend for me. As I was telling one of the staff here, is probably the most intense 48 hours emotionally that I've had in a very long time. Just of re-looking at all those aspects of my childhood when my parents separated, when the divorce was finalized, and hearing the stories of other participants as well, and really asking the Lord Jesus to come in and to heal those wounds, that pain, and just how powerfully that it affects all of us. I think there were about 30 on the retreat, mostly young adults, but there were a few of us older adults that attended. There was the founder of the ministry, a clinical psychologist, a priest, and another volunteer member who did music, but also all of those gave talks. All of them were children of divorce themselves. In fact, the psychologist, she was on the first Life-Giving Wounds retreat, which was in the mid 2000s. So it's been going on for quite a while in the East Coast. So I'm delighted that they finally brought it out here out west. Originally, it's through right now the Archdiocese of San Francisco. They were the ones that brought it out, and the person who works for the Archbishop's office had invited me to be part of the planning team and help in bringing it out. But unfortunately, with the time difference and a number of other things, I just simply was not able to help plan. So I decided to attend as a retreatant and experience it. And I'm very glad that I did. Again, it was a very powerful moving weekend of experiencing that, but knowing that I know this in my head that I'm not the only one, but it just felt that I carried this on my own, and to be in a whole room full of people that were similarly impacted was a very powerful, moving experience for me. And again, just the whole range of ages, and people like me when parents divorced as a child, some as young adults, but the wound that inflicted on them was still very profound and very manifest in their lives, and just being in the company of others was such a marvelous blessing. I don't know about the whole group. As I say, there were about 30 of us, I think, altogether. But in my little small group of 8, I was the only child. Everyone else had siblings. Of course, that had a different flavor. So it was just amazing to hear, some of them who were the youngest or on the younger end, or who were the oldest, and how that impacted them and their siblings, and how the siblings had a very different experience depending on their age. And there was even one woman there who was my age, who was a child of divorce herself. She herself was divorced, and was her daughter is preparing to get married. So all those things were in her heart, and it just tugged at my heart to just, gosh, all those three big things going through. But of course, that weekend is a focus on you as one who had been through that experience of being a child of a divorced family. So I guess this is a long way of saying, next time if you are an adult child of divorce or separation, I would highly encourage you to attend a Life Giving Wounds retreat. It's incredibly, I know I've said this, a powerful thing to do, but incredibly healing and also encouraging to do. And now I have a whole group of children of divorce friends, that some of whom shared very deeply with over the weekend. I think I mentioned it's through the Archdiocese of San Francisco, and their retreat center is down in Menlo Park, Vallombrosa Center. So I went down early on Friday evening and bummed dinner off of the St. Raymond's community, so I got to see Father Jerome and the other brothers in that community, which was of course a pleasure for me to be able to do that. So yeah, so again, I'll be probably saying more about it as I unpack this. Like right now, there's just so much. It's like I just haven't even begun to process all of it yet. It's going to take me a long time. So you're probably going to be hearing about some of this in my homilies and in my pastor's corner, because it made a big impression, and just so many feelings of relief of not being the only one. As I say, even though in my head I knew that I wasn't, but being able to share deeply was just so incredibly healing, and knowing that other people have similar experiences was just a marvelous experience. And yeah, so anyway, that's what's going on. And say this ends my being away every other weekend. As you know, a month ago I was up in Eugene helping out. 2 weekends ago was down in LA for the centennial celebration for the Junior St. Dominic's. Then this past weekend for the Life Giving Wounds retreat. I will be going away for a wedding a little later in this month of a former student from when I was a campus minister, but that's not for a couple weeks yet. So, if you'd like to hear more about my experience, please do come and chat with me after Mass, or if you want to sit down and have an appointment or a Zoom call, I'd be happy to do that. But again, just an encouragement to go. I've not even begun to explore all the resources, but they do have a website. It's just lifegivingwounds, all one word, .org. And they just have a ton of resources. I just signed up for their Lenten video series. And it's going to be, it's again processing this, thinking about it, praying about it, writing about it, talking to you about it, continuing the conversation with these folks in the coming weeks. It's all going to be a great blessing, but of course it's also a very marvelous way to start Lent, because that phrase, comes from the first letter of St. Peter. By his wounds you were healed. That's a canticle that we sing in the Liturgy of the Hours every Sunday night during the Lenten season, and it just brought that really home to me and personally, and finding Christ in my wound of caused by my parents' divorce. And even though they've been gone a long time, I was thinking about it. My parents' divorce was 45 years ago, um, but that still very much affects me to this day. But I come off this retreat with a great sense of hope for not only myself but also in hopefully helping others in my situation to experience the healing that the Lord offers for all of us. Because of course Christianity is absolutely unique in its approach to woundedness and suffering, because we believe that Jesus came down from heaven specifically to embrace the cross, to not shy away from our suffering, no matter what it might be, but to enter into it fully and to transform it from the inside. So whether it be sickness, whether it be divorce, whether you be a divorced person yourself, and all the many ways that we can be wounded in this life, that we do believe that Jesus came to embrace that and to transform it from within, so that we need not lose hope because of our wounds, but that precisely in that wound that we can draw close to the suffering and crucified Christ, so as to share in his resurrection. And of course, in the resurrection, first things he does is shows them his hands and side and said, "Look, here is the wound, Thomas. Put your finger in and be no longer doubting, but believe." That those wounds need no longer dominate us. They're still with us, very much a part of us, but healed and transformed by the passion, death, and resurrection of Jesus. So it doesn't get much more Lenten than that, but it's, again, that gives us hope for our own wounds, bringing them to Christ, allowing Christ to come in and to transform them, and for us to experience his resurrection on the last day. So, well, that's, I think, enough for one Monday Musings. God bless you. Hope to see you at the Rosary for the Sick, or the Stations of the Cross, or at Mass next weekend. So God bless you. See you soon. Bye-bye for now.